Overeating wasn't a failure of willpower. It was a biological loop that I didn't know how to interrupt. I've been trying to lose this weight my whole life. And I'd yo-yo 50, 70 pounds down, go back up.
So Jelly Roll has come out and spoken on Joe Rogans Podcast and spoken about how he's conquered food addiction, but also in that process, he also lost 230 pounds without using Ozempic. On the interview itself, Jelly Roll really opens up and is open and honest about his struggle. Within that interview, I've noticed some common themes that I really want to discuss over on here. So if you are somebody that struggles with compulsive overeating or food addiction, or maybe you're just really spinning your wheels and feeling stuck, you're trying to lose weight, then this video is definitely for you. And if you're new around here, hi, I'm Hetty. I'm a personal trainer and online food freedom, confidence and fitness coach. And I help women stop binge and emotional overeating and lose weight in a healthy and balanced, sustainable way. Grab yourself a cuppa. Let's break this all down. There are so many key points within this interview that I think are going to be really, really helpful, specifically for that person who is struggling to lose weight or struggling with compulsive overeating. Jelly Roll explains that he had been trying to lose this weight his whole life. This is a key part.
And I thought I had a critical moment. It was an emotional moment. So I'd get all fired up. I've been trying to lose this weight my whole life. And I'd yo-yo 50, 70 pounds down, go back up.
If we have been trying to achieve something for so long, there comes a point where achieving the goal almost feels completely impossible. We begin to identify as the person who is constantly trying to achieve said goal. We've never actually identified with achieving the goal. And this is something that I see quite a lot with women that I work with, particularly women that have been trying to lose weight literally their whole life and have identified with just constantly being on a diet, constantly trying to lose weight, constantly struggling with their weight. Eventually, over time, that goal seems so far from our mind, and we've never actually identified as being the person that actually can achieve that goal. Now this, like I said, is a key part that Jelly Roll mentions at the beginning. He had been trying to lose this weight his whole life, so I imagine that he, over that time, he'd started to identify as just somebody that had always struggled with his weight, always struggled to try and lose the weight. So eventually, and I speak about this a lot with my clients and also on my podcast, our self-perception and self-identity is so crucial when it comes to achieving not even just a weight loss goal or a fitness goal, but our identity literally shapes and dictates how we behave and what actions we take. If we are somebody that has identified as a person who is constantly struggling with their weight, constantly trying to lose weight, then we are going to subconsciously behave in that way. Whereas if we're identifying as somebody who already is fit, healthy and strong, and I'm not going to go into the full depth of your identity and how that actually dictates your results in this video. I made a whole video talking on this subject, on how our identity shifts our results and the behaviors that we take and the results that we get. So I will link that down in the description box below. There's also a podcast episode on it as well, so I'll link that down. Just know that your identity is so important when it comes to achieving your fitness or fat loss goals.
I'm gonna go get my fat ass on a scale. Save this video. This video is ground zero.
I'd probably say I've lost 700-800 pounds throughout my life. Maybe 1,000. 50 at a time, 100 at a time, gain it back.
I just want to address that he has been trying to lose this weight his whole life. This was not down to lack of trying or lack of willpower or lack of motivation. Obviously, the amount of effort and energy and time that he must have spent doing all of these things must have literally taken him so long over the years, but never actually achieving that weight loss goal. Now, another key part that Jelly Roll says in this interview, which is so powerful and really important to focus on. He later on then says that this time he wanted to take a different approach to this.
So when I sat down to try to lose it this time, I said, I'm going to take a different approach. I'm going to really take my time with it. I'm going to think about what I'm doing and be intentional. I'm not going to let it be an emotional thing where you just jump up and go, I'm going to go run today and do. Let me figure this out.
So he'd said, I've been trying to lose this weight my whole life, and over that time I'd never actually achieved it. So this time I wanted to take a different approach. This time, instead of trying to do everything, going out for a run, 100 miles per hour and trying to do everything all at once, going for a run, cutting everything out, he said, this time I thought I'm going to take a different approach. I'm going to take my time with it. That is key. Now, the fact that he said, I'm going to take a different approach instead of doing everything, going for a run, doing all these crazy workouts and maybe crazy diets as well, this gives us an indication that maybe that was his norm before. So this implies that before he'd always gone 100 miles per hour, trying to do everything all at once, trying to go absolutely balls to the wall and try and push himself super hard to achieve this goal. I've worked in the fitness industry for many years and I've seen this and still see this time and time again. When somebody really dislikes where they are right now, when the motivation hits or when they just feel completely uncomfortable in where they're at, it's understandable that we want to just get rid of it straight away. So it's like, right, I'm going to do whatever it takes, go on a crazy run, I'm going to go on these crazy intense workouts, I'm going to do whatever I can. But the problem is, we can't sustain this for the long term. And again, I'm going to loop this back to what Jelly Roll has said, because this is so powerful. If you're wanting to lose weight and keep it off for the long term, if you struggle with overeating, compulsive overeating, food addiction, you're going to really want to listen to this. In terms of when he was saying and explaining, I'm going to take a different approach this time, instead of doing a crazy workout that he can't sustain, instead he said, I'm going to just go out for a morning walk.
He said, just start by trying to get 10,000 steps a day. Got in the cold plunge for 6 minutes and I would go for a half-mile walk. That first Monday comes, Joe, it is pissing rain. I wake up and I'm like,
I'm just going to focus on walking first thing in the morning. That's all I'm going to do. So the simplest thing he decides to commit to. And he actually got really emotional when he was talking about this, and I can totally relate because I've struggled with this myself. That once you've made so many promises to yourself time and time again, you've never actually followed through with it. Over the long term, you actually lose so much trust with yourself. You actually don't believe yourself anymore.
When you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it, your body then starts to know that you don't mean what you say. So now when you tell your body to do something, your body looks at you like, you ain't never meant what you said to me.
Right.
You've never followed through. What, I want to run because you tell me to run, dude? You lie to me all the time.
As much as you want this goal, there's a part of you that truly does not believe it because the evidence around you has never supported that goal. As much as we can say, I want to lose this weight so bad, I want to get healthy, I want to sort my life out, whatever that looks like, we can want that so bad, but if our brain has no proof or no amount of evidence to support that goal being achieved, if we've always seen ourselves failing before, and this again goes back to my first point, if our brain has only ever seen us fail at something, then there will be a deep-rooted belief within there that actually doesn't truly believe that we'll ever achieve it. And he actually says this in the interview, which I think is so powerful, because he wanted this so bad and it was really negatively affecting his life in so many ways. His physical health, obviously, time with his kids, also with his relationships, like there was so much at stake. But he had seen himself lose promises to himself time and time again. He would just commit to something and then never follow through. When he was getting emotional, it really did ring true for him, because obviously he was saying that he'd tried so many times before but never actually fully committed to it. And this ties in with my first point, that if we have the identity as somebody who is always trying to lose weight, always dieting, always trying or struggling with her weight, that is the identity behaviors that you're going to operate from. That is literally your operating system, that anything that you do, you're operating from the identity of somebody who struggles with their weight and struggles to lose weight. This is probably one of the biggest killers of people's goals and dreams of getting healthy and losing the weight, or even breaking the habit of compulsive overeating, because there's no proof or evidence to support that they are actually capable of achieving the goal. And because they are so attached and it's familiar to just give up, not follow through with the goal, kind of always stuck in this trying or struggling phase. Over time, you just lose more and more trust with yourself. You have no confidence, no self-belief in yourself that you actually can achieve it, which again is going to affect how we show up and what we do, essentially. This is what when we overcommit to certain tasks or trying to achieve certain goals, if we overcommit, like saying to ourselves, right, I'm going to go from not exercising at all to doing 5-6 days of the week, I'm going to go completely low carb. If we do something so drastically different compared to where we are, that is too much of a jump for our body to sustain it. It's not about willpower, it's literally that we can't sustain it because it is so different from where we're at. And if this has been our norm, if we just continue to go from 0 to 100, we naturally won't be able to sustain it for the long term, which again then reinforces this belief that we're a failure or that we can't stick to anything long term. Then tying this back into my first point where I was talking about identity, confidence, self-perception, you then lose all self-belief, self-confidence in yourself that you are actually even capable of achieving this goal. So tying this back into what Jelly Roll did, he committed to those morning walks. Might seem small to some people, but I think this is honestly amazing that he committed to them. I'm not even surprised that he's been able to lose the weight by doing it and taking it down this route. He commits to doing the morning walks, and the first morning that he commits to this, it is pouring it down outside with rain. He obviously doesn't want to go.
And I came out that morning dressed up in my stuff, and I was like, man, that rain's pretty hard. Just wait till the rain quits or do it on the treadmill or something. But in my mind, I was like, no, I'm going outside. And I was like, I'm done lying to y'all, and I'm done lying to me.
He said to himself, I'm going to do it. I've committed to this, so I'm going to do it. Imagine how he's feeling at this point. Like, he's at his absolute heaviest. He feels like right at the beginning of his journey. The comfort of just leaving it and just saying, I'll start again on Monday or I'll do it another day must have been so tempting to choose that path, but he didn't. He committed, and he got so emotional when he was speaking about it, which honestly I was getting emotional too watching this video. I'm super emotional all the time, but anyway. And he said that at the end of the walk, his whole family was stood outside cheering him on, because they never actually believed him either that he was going to be capable of doing it.
I'm coming back from that walk, and I'm coming up my driveway. It's up a big hill, and all my family's out there cheering me on, clapping, hands up. I'd done nothing but lie to them for years about this weight. They had every reason not to go out there and cheer me on.
He kind of talks about this of like, and I've been lying to myself all this time. My family actually started to, they naturally didn't believe me either, but they tried to show support in whatever way that they could. And through doing the small steps, through doing small commitments to himself, so he started out just walking. That's literally all he started with. Over that time, what this happens to your belief and self-perception is your brain starts seeing you act out on those things. So your belief starts to change. You start seeing and have evidence to prove and support you that you can follow through, that you are the person that takes the action. And this, like I said, is the biggest killer for so many people, because we wait so much until it's a perfect condition, until we feel motivated, until we, whatever that looks like. But actually, it's in the small steps, and this doesn't sound sexy, and it's not sexy to do the small, consistent approach, but this is what changes. This is what creates sustainable results. If you want to lose weight for the long term and keep it off, literally you've got to commit to the long term sustainable approach. If you're only interested in doing what sounds good, what sounds fun, what sounds quick, you're never going to be able to sustain it for the long term, because it just does not last. Sustainable change does not happen like that. Think of anything else in your life. You think about it in your career, got a promotion. You don't just join the company and then suddenly make your way up to management level or CFO level. It takes small consistent steps and changes and shifts. So over that time, that's when the growth happens, that's when the transformation happens. And this is literally Jelly Roll did. Eventually he started building that momentum. He started seeing himself committing to the process and committing and achieving those small manageable goals. And eventually your brain starts to get on board, and it starts to rewire old beliefs that you weren't able to be that person, and then suddenly you start seeing yourself becoming that person. And over time, this builds self-trust, it builds self-belief, and it starts to reshape and rewire your self-identity into becoming the version of you that you want to become. Without this, we literally cannot achieve it. We can't go from where we are to where we want to be without that transition and shift in our brain, in our self-perception and self-identity. If we do, the results will be very, very short-lived. And I see this all the time. We have to literally rewire and reshape who we are at an identity level. Otherwise, the results just do not stick. And then lastly, he speaks about how his struggle with losing weight literally had nothing to do with willpower. Literally, I feel like a broken record at this point because this is all that I say.
Overeating wasn't a failure of willpower. It was a biological loop that I didn't know how to interrupt.
The problem with food addiction, as opposed to every other addiction, is that you have to keep doing the thing you're addicted to.
His weight was not down to a lack of willpower or lack of motivation. He'd been trying his whole life, for God's sake. Like, he'd already admitted to that. Instead, what it was a compulsive overeating habit, a biological loop within his brain that he didn't know how to interrupt. And again, this is why your identity is so important, and your ability to recognize your thoughts, the ability to break those internal habits, because that is what's causing the weight to be there in the first place. It wasn't down to just him needing more willpower. What he realized was it was a habit loop within his brain. And once he was able to overcome that habit, that is when the habit changed. And that is literally the work that I do with my clients. If you are somebody that feels completely compulsive around food and you feel like you literally cannot stop eating as much as you try, and you're actively also trying to lose weight, weight is getting you down, stuck in this cycle of trying to lose weight but then regaining all of the weight again. I'll leave all my details down in the description box below, because this is exactly what I do with my one-on-one clients. We literally take you from where you are to where you want to be able to break all of those habits internally so that you're able to stop the emotional and compulsive overeating with food, and also lose the weight, create a healthy, balanced relationship with food and fitness as well, so that you're able to sustain it for the long term. This is literally what Jelly Roll did. Realize that this was an internal job. As you understand this and you understand how to break the habit, you actually know how your body works, and you're able to confidently fuel your body properly and exercise in a way where you're able to balance your weight easily and effortlessly. So like I said, if that sounds like you and you really want to break those habits and get to a place where food and your body feel peace, calm, balanced, definitely get in touch. Click the link below. I just want to also preface that, especially if you are overweight right now and you are really struggling with your weight, food feels really chaotic and crazy right now. Please use this as an example that you can absolutely get to where you want to be. No matter how many diets you've tried, no matter how long you've been struggling with this, it is a mindset and identity shift that needs to happen first. It doesn't happen through starting another diet, because that's what's kept you stuck in the first place. Use Jelly Roll as an example. What is possible for you once you have the right tools in place? I've seen it time and time again, and once you see it, you can't unsee it, and you realize actually how powerful it is when you're working not just with your physical body but also your mindset and identity work as well. So use it as an example and an inspiration that you can get to that place too. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe if you would like to see more, and comment below what your thoughts are on this topic. I would love to hear maybe what you're struggling with, or maybe what takeaways you got from this video. I'll see you in the next one.